Welcome to Foundation Friday. The dedication and covenant of silent unity was signed on December 7th, 1892 by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, founders of the Unity movement. It is unlikely when they signed this covenant that they had any idea how far-reaching unity would be as it evolved into the church we know and love today. We invite you to join us as we explore and share some of the original ideas, teachings, and writings of the men and women who created the foundation of the Unity Church.
Hi there. Thank you so much for joining us here today for our Foundation Friday program. Today, we are once again going to explore the works of Unity Minister Eric Butterworth. This essay comes from Eric Butterworth Speaks, Essays on Abundant Living. This is actually essay number 88, which was delivered as a sermon by Reverend Eric in September of 1975. You can find this and all of his essays, I believe they're all there, at truthunity.net. If you'd like to have the actual essay for yourself. Here we go. This one is called Conscience or Consciousness. I hope you enjoy it. Today, I would like to share with you some of my thoughts on the topic conscience or consciousness. These two words have a similarity of sound, but vastly different meanings. Let us consider them in regard to our convictions in life and about this new insight in truth. It is frequently remarked that one does not need formal religion. One only needs to live guided by the 10 Commandments and to abide by his conscience. Can conscience be a safe and secure guide in life? Some other persons will agree with Polonius when he said, "To thine own self be true. Thou canst not be false to any man." This statement, shrewdly placed by Shakespeare in the mouth of one of his windiest and most self-seeking characters, has attained almost scriptural status. Just what is meant here by being true to oneself. In the new insight in truth, we think of two distinct levels of the self, the human and divine. Perhaps we should therefore regard the above statement as referring only to the diviner self, as true to the Christ indwelling. But it does not necessarily imply that. Hitler, a sociopath, a psychopath, was fanatically true to himself, as was Jesse James, a reckless adventurer. Most of the contemporary world leaders, for better or worse, are actually true to themselves. In a way, those whom we especially revere and honor are those who train themselves to stay true to ideas that are greater than themselves, to be true to the truth, to spiritual principle, even if they do not grasp it for themselves. We are led back to the word conscience, one definition of which is the internal recognition of right and wrong as regards one's actions and motives. Robert Browning wrote of this greatest beacon light God sends to all, the conscience of each bosom. Is conscience then of divine origin? Is it divine guidance? Is it the still small voice of God? If a businessman were to listen to his conscience in all his dwellings, will he unfailingly do the fair, honest, and just thing for all concerned? A thoughtful analysis of this question reveals to us that individual consciousness differs widely. The realtor who has been schooled to believe that it is normal for the seller and buyer to haggle and then finally come to an agreement on price will have no pangs of conscience at selling an item for twice what it is worth. To him, it is just good business. This would not be so to the person who has been reared to accept different standards of fair play, equal benefit for both parties. Since the consciences of different people differ so widely, can we accept them as reliable social and moral guides? Conscience is an acquired sense of right and wrong, but in no way is it divine guidance. It is a subconscious reminder of the standards that through the years we have come to accept as correct. One whose early training and example included honesty and fair play will unconsciously be motivated by these ideals and will be conscience stricken if he fails to live up to them. On the other hand, one who has lived from childhood in a tradition of crime not only might not show any remorse or sense of wrongdoing when the rest of the world feels he should, but might quite conceivably feel conscience stricken if he fails to take advantage of an opportunity to commit larceny. I must therefore startle you by saying that conscience cannot be a good guide or basis for desirable business or personal ethics. Conscience is as fine as it goes, but it can never be an infallible guide. I must likewise state that it is not enough to be true to thine own self. Although we may have been true to our human self and the problems we have experienced, we need to find some higher guidelines and principles and be true to them. Then, as we develop a consciousness of the diviner self, we can be true to ourselves on that level and find an infallible guide thereby. So the need for all of us is to find lofty spiritual principles and then work to build them into our consciousness. Then we can let our truth-directed conscience be our guide. Guidance is actually a perpetual thing because man is a perpetual spiritual being, whether he knows it or not. The need to know it and take time to be still and acknowledge our unity with God, and then to let this infinite intelligence, which is ever with us, do its work in us and be felt in us. It is often and quite rightly asked, how can one tell the difference between divine guidance and personal desire? It's not easy to explain, but one must be willing to let go and let God to know that there is a right answer. It is sometimes erroneously assumed that divine guidance must appear in some mystical or phenomenal way, such as hearing a voice or perceiving a sign. However, believing this, we invariably make a choice that as a rationalization of our human consciousness. It is natural to receive guidance for something we already want to do humanly. We even read of dreadful crimes being committed because the perpetrator felt guided to do it. God cares nothing for our materiality, and He has no plans that are for one person only, excluding all others. This is the human consciousness, and we err if we ask God to make the decision for us. God is infinite mind, all wisdom. We can draw on that mind and on that wisdom through our experiences and utilize it to direct us in ways that are right. Prayer must be for a clearer realization of our unity with God, with the guidance principle, a better awareness of the truth. We will then be able to follow our highest realization, true to ourselves, but with the emphasis on our diviner self. There is that of you that is the activity, the presence of God manifesting where you are. It is that which is attuned to everything on the highest level. Emerson said that prayer is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view, closing the human eye that sees appearances and opening the spiritual eye that sees possibilities, provides for us answers and wise choices. Consciousness rises and falls according to our reactions and experiences, but primarily consciousness is our eternal awareness of infinite good. This is its highest function. When we assume mastery over our own mind, we learn to control our consciousness so that it reflects not the reactionary feelings of things around us, but rather the creative expression of the infinite within us. Choose ye this day whom ye will serve. Will your consciousness like a barometer? Then your consciousness, like a barometer, dips to lows of depression, worry, anxiety, and fear, fluctuating up and down at the mercy of happenings. But when you train your consciousness to create rather than to react, you will find stability and self-assurance and peace, as well as poise. Your consciousness is right now a pipeline to the infinite, of which the infinite of you, which God is expressing as you. The thing to get, as Emerson says, our bloat of nothingness out of the way and lie low in the divine circuit to lowly listen. Everything necessary to your experience is already within your own being, ready to unfold naturally. The completeness and perfection of your life is already established within you in your unity with God. This is the divine level of man. Conscience is good, and let us by all means so train our minds that they accept high standards and ideals. So our consciences will prod us in desirable ways. But let us too always know the infallible God, the infallible guide is the still small voice of God that reaches us when we enter the inner chamber and close the door, thus acting from our highest level of consciousness. Let us finally remember that the key to great life is unity, oneness, a consciousness of unity with the infinite. Always remember to look within for your good and for your guidance. Let yourself not be satisfied with mere pangs of conscience. Be still and know the truth. And then, in the sunlight of God consciousness, let your truth directed conscience be your guide. Okay, that's it. The essay on conscience versus consciousness. I hope that you enjoyed our reading and got a lot out of that lesson. I really think it's valuable to remember that our human self is better when we allow ourselves to be divinely guided and divinely aware. Before we go, please know you matter. You are sacred, and you are so, so very loved. Namaste.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.